Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, it's that time of year. December 1st means it's Diecember over at the Simon's Stamp Shop. So there are some brand new dies and such beauties, I have to tell you. Today I get the pleasure of creating a card with the Detailed Rose die. It's a 4-piece set, but it is beautiful. It's on the larger side. And I kind of like it because you could use it for a slimline card if you wanted to. One is a great focal point. Today's card, I thought we would load up our background with this beautiful die set. It's called Detailed Rose, and I'll link it down below along with the entire Diecember release if you guys want to head on over to the Simon Shop or blog and then check it out. Lots of inspiration using some brand new items over there. I'm just going to separate these. You get the outline of the rose along with the outline of the leaf, the spine I would say, and then you get the background for it. And that makes it really nice. Even if you want to create a window, I think that makes it really nice with the background. I thought we'd create a engagement card, so we're going to bring in some soft colored cardstock sheets. I have the pink is called Ballet Slipper, and then also the green is called Sprout, and I'm using my regular white cardstock. I die cut out 3 flowers, 3 roses with white, and then the Ballet Slipper background I die cut out 3 times. So we're going to make a real soft background. I did die cut out 1 more of my roses with this very bright blue. It was in my scrap pile, and you're thinking, okay, she's lost her mind because the blue and the pale pink surely don't go together. But I'm basically using my blue as a template. I wanted to add a little bit of shading to my pale pink cardstock just so the flowers stand out a little bit more. And so to do that, I die cut out the blue flower, and then I'm using it as a guide, and then just taking a very light Copic marker. This is my R21. I'm just doing a little shading in the corners. This way, when I adhere the white front, it's going to make it pop a little bit more because we have a very pale background color. Easy to do. Basically, all I'm doing is going from corner to corner in little flicking motions. And you could do this basically with any color cardstock. It really does add a nice effect to your card. I'm just going to continue around all the corners. If you wanted to blend it out with your colorless blender, you very well could. But I just left it the way it is because the highlights were pretty soft. You'll see in the close-ups. After I have this one done, I'm going to continue on with my other 2. You can see here, let's remove it, and you can see the little shading. Now the blue on the reverse side, I have some removable adhesive. I just used my Tombow removable adhesive tape runner behind it. It's not holding it down too well, but it's well enough to where it won't leave any residual on my roses, and it'll allow me to position it to where I can do my little shading. So all 3 are done. Next, we're going to move along to our leaves. The leaves are a lot easier than the roses, although the roses were pretty easy. I'm just going to eyeball it, bring in my YG03 green marker, and just basically draw a spine and then do some flicking motions to the left and right of it. Just highlights the center of each one of my leaves. Do the same thing here, going from top to bottom and just creating my own little color spine. After these are all done, I'm going to do a little bit of added shading with my Distress Oxide ink. I decided to use pumice stone. It's a warm gray, and I'm going to add a little bit of highlighting basically to the right side of my leaves and then around my roses also. I wanted them to look a little bit on the vintage side, less springy, more vintage. For my I wanted to call it an anniversary card, but I guess you could make this an anniversary card, but it's more like a wedding shower card. After all of my highlights are added with my pumice stone Distress Oxide ink, we're going to bring in some scratch paper and start gluing our outline over our backgrounds. I'm going to bring in, I've couldn't find my glue sponge, so I'm going to do something that's going to make it fast and easy. Basically, I'm taking my glue here. This is C&CT Stamp's Craft Tacky Glue. It's on the thicker side. I haven't used it in a while. I actually had to remove my, it clogged a little bit. I had to remove the top part of it. But I'm adding some to the corner of some scratch paper, and then I'm going to bring in a mini blending tool. I put a clean foam pad at the end. I'm just dabbing it in the glue, and then I'm going to dab it around the back side of my rose. You want to make sure you get the reverse side. You don't want to glue down the top, and then when you go to adhere it to your background, it'll be upside down. But I found this super duper easy. I'm just going to lay it over the top. The highlights are there standing out, and I think that middle piece I didn't get too well. I'm going to go back over it, and then just so it gives it a chance to adhere, I'm going to bring in one of my stamping blocks and kind of weight down my outline. And then we're going to move on to the next one. Same exact thing. I think I need a little bit more glue. I'm going to open up the cap and just pour some out here. And then same thing. I'm just going to soak up my little dauber here with lots of glue, and then start tapping the reverse side of the flower here. You want to make sure that you don't put your flower back in the spot where you glued previously, because otherwise you get glue on the very top. But I found this super easy. If you wanted to die cut this with some double-sided sticky tape, you could very well do that. I did get a sticker maker, but I think there was too much of the sticker residual to do this. I tried another intricate die and it didn't work out too well. Might be with just my sticker maker. I did the same thing to the leaves. They're ready to go. I did 5 leaves and we have 3 flowers. And these are on the larger side. And I wasn't sure if I was going to use all 3 of my roses, because I'm going to be using an A2 size card front, card base. But I think we're going to try it out here. But I think they look so pretty. Okay, we're going to set these aside, and I'm going to work on my background. I wanted a little added detail for my background, so I'm bringing in, keeping kind of with the vintage feel, I'm bringing in a background stamp from Stampendous. It's called the Posted Script background. I just love this, especially with pale colors. I removed my mouse pad. I'm going to place this in the corner of my Misty, pick it up with the lid, and then I'm going to bring in a card front panel that's 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. This is going to fit the very front of my A2 size card base. I'm going to add a little adhesive to the back of my Misty, close it the reverse way, and then this way my paper's tacked down and I know it's going to be covered with my stamps. I found this easier with background stamps. Okay, I'm using that same pumice stone distressed oxide ink. It's like a very warm pale gray. I'm going to ink up my background and then stamp this on my card front size panel. And I think one did it. It's a pretty pale ink. Lovely. Okay, we're just going to remove this. I have a piece of fabric from my oxide pad there. I had to remove it. I'm going to go ahead and use my tape runner, and we're going to adhere this to the front of our card base. I did decide to add a little bit of shading to all the edges, just to make it stand out a little bit more. Pumice stone is a very pale ink, so it's not going to be as vibrant as a darker color. We're going to adhere this to our card front, and then our background is ready to go. We can arrange some flowers on it. I want to make sure my script is facing right side up. Now again, these roses, the detailed roses, are so pretty, but they are huge. You can see how easily how one would be a great focal point. I'm going to bring in my foam squares, and we're going to pop up. We're just going to add 3 behind one rose. I'm not loading it up too much with my foam squares because I like to tuck some of the leaves underneath there, and so this gives me a little room. I'm going to place this overhanging just a little bit. We're going to add foam adhesive behind this one. Actually, we're going to add foam adhesive just to the bottom area, and then I'll use my tape runner over the top of my flower, and then we can overlap it But I was loving the way this looked so much, and I thought, you know what? Let's cover, basically, I guess you didn't need to stamp the background because I'm going to end up covering the entire background. This floral is just so stunning. I thought, you know what? We're gonna put it all over our card today. I'm going to trim off the edges so we could fit it in the envelope here. And then I have two extra pieces, a long skinny one and then about half of one of my roses here. I'm going to use that and fill in the open area on my panel here. I'm just going to use my tape runner and adhere it down. The only two roses that are popped up are the bottom one and the one up from that, almost in the middle area. And so the very, very top rows and then this one here that I'm adhering are directly on my card base. I did that so I have a little bit of dimension. I'm going to go ahead and add this too. We have a little open area on this side and it worked out perfect. 3 roses covered my entire card front. And I just think it's so pretty. This would be a nice Mother's Day card too. And pretty easy to put together. Okay, for my sentiment, I'm going to bring in a pack of sentiment strips from C&CT Stamp. These are pre-made sentiments. All you do is trim them and adhere them. This is All Things Happy, I believe. I'll link it down below. But since it is a wedding card, I chose the sentiment in here that says, "You deserve nothing but happiness." I'm going to cut a very thin strip, and I'm also going to trim down a real thin strip of foam tape. I'm going to angle the end here and trim off the left side. We'll add some foam adhesive, and then I think we're going to put this a little bit lower towards the bottom. That's a great spot right there. We'll just add our adhesive, and then our sentiment's good to go. That's the nice thing about these is it creates easy peasy. Last but not least, I'm going to bring in some embellishments. We're going to add some bells and whistles with some sequins here. I chose the ones that I have from Studio Katia. They're called Wedding Bell Mix. There's some gems in there, and then there's some iridescent sequins. I just added a few of the iridescent sequins, not the gems, to my card. Above the sentiment and then a few below. But that's my card today, guys. I encourage you to check out the C&CT Stamp Diecember Release. Oh my goodness, you know it's a huge event over at the C&CT Shop. Encourage you guys to check out the blog too for lots of inspiration. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a fabulous day, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.